Hey, it's Alyssa Long, and you are listening to Across the Bifrost.
Whosoever holds this hammer, if it be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Across the Bifrost, the Mighty Thor podcast, where on each and every episode we explore the world of Marvel's Mighty Thor. On this episode, myself and the Warriors 3, we are going to break down the newest issue of the Immortal Thor series, number 6, The Teller of Tales, has just come out about a week ago by the time you're listening to this, and we have some hot takes. There's some other Thor news. We're going to catch up with Alligator Loki. We got kind of a packed little show for you today, but riding shotgun right now for this episode is Will Rose. Will Rose, welcome back to Across the Bifrost, man. You haven't been here in forever.
I know. Well, there was a little time between Thor number 5 and Thor
Oh
number
my
6.
God, yes.
So that's why. But we're here, Thor number 6, which legacy number what, Ryan? Legacy number what?
Oh my gosh. You know what? I should just know that's coming, and I should not be as unprepared as I am. This legacy number is number 767.
Man, 767. We've had 17 issues since 750, way back when. Remember those days?
That
Those
feels
were
like forever ago.
It was like forever ago. It was an eon ago, almost
Yeah.
like thousands of years ago when we had to gather around campfires and tell stories that way, then around microphones and share those stories. So, um,
Yes, we are heading back to, like, as we talk about this comic number 6 of Immortal Thor. Thor and Loki weirdly like record a podcast within this issue, and they're retelling a story from their own past, but it's actually Marvel publication history that they're going back to. I won't lie to you listeners.
yeah,
We were talking about
yeah.
this on the pregame. This was like timey-wimey. I don't really know where we're at, and I don't know where we're going, but it's one of those things as a comic book reader, you're like, but I like this creator and I like this artist and I trust this team. So I'm kind of just along for the ride here. We've had a few issues like that over the last few years. When we were tying
Mhm.
up Donny Cates's run, when we had Torn Grunbeck's little run there at the end of the last volume, there were just issues where we kind of had to trust that the writer and the creative team knew better than us. That's where I'm at with this one, but there was still a lot to like in this issue. But Will, did you have any like opening, I don't know, kind of thoughts for this? Because we're done with the first story arc of Immortal Thor. We're kind of jumping into this next one. Did you have any like opening first impressions for this one?
Yeah, I mean, one, we're grieving that Yacht Money couldn't be here with us, but he'll
Uh,
come up later. He'll
Yeah,
come
yeah.
up later.
Hopefully, we'll get
And
Yacht
share.
Money on later to talk about Alligator Loki and the bit of news that we
Yeah.
have for the upcoming Thor issues.
But it's definitely, I'm not going to say filler issue. It is a transitional issue. You have the big story
That's
arc,
fair.
and sometimes you have a transition issue to help settle the dust a little bit, or get you ready for the next story arc, or reveal little Easter eggs that's going to happen later on in the grander story of thing. And so, but listen. I will say that this came at a good time for me because I was pondering on another podcast. Somebody was sharing their thoughts on like the type of campfires that we gather around to tell our stories, to huddle around, to geek out on things. And he asked the question, what are the campfires you gather around with your friends? To cook, to share, to ask questions, to ponder the big existential questions everybody wrestles with. And I was like, oh, that's so good. And I may do a geek camp with some folks and thinking about the talk I would do about the different types of campfires we gather around. And I was geeking out on that. And then all of a sudden the first issue here, or this issue, I opened the first couple pages and they're literally sitting around a campfire and Loki says those magic words, once upon a time, dot, dot, dot. And they tell a tale about magic and myth and revisiting older stories. So I was into it because those themes, bigger themes and ideas and questions were already kind of ruminating in my mind and heart. So I was kind of into this issue. I will say it wasn't action packed. There wasn't like a ton of fights or big conflicts. It was more
Yeah.
conversation and a lot of word balloons and a lot of words. But I tell you what, Martin can draw a splash page and he can draw a
Well,
battle scene. But man, in
that
this issue, talk about flexing his muscles of like facial expressions and depth perception. Like I was just captivated by like look at the different expressions on Thor's face and Loki's face. It's one thing to do a big explosion and a hammer smash on something. It's another to allow me to see inside the characters' emotions and thoughts through just how their eyes are drawn or mouth is drawn. Man, Martin, great job. Great job.
I agree because there's so I've said this in the past on a many episode, like I'm kind of a simpleton when it comes to reading. So sometimes if it's not spelled out for me, I tend to miss things, which is why I prefer to read comics with friends so they can help me kind of figure out and process, like Will said, kind of sit around the campfire and talk through things. And like I noticed there's things where will pick up on something that I'm like, you know what? I probably should have picked up on that. But
Hmm.
I had no clue. Faz is really good at it because Faz is really willing to get in the weeds and go on the Reddit threads and check, check all these different things out. And we're actually getting so a little behind the scenes for you listeners. We're getting messages from Faz as we're doing this, and he's going to be joining us in a few minutes for this breakdown of Six and Alligator Loki and all that stuff. So basic kind of thing there is like, hey, you should read comics with your friends. If
Yeah.
you want a good example of how much fun reading comics with your friends can be, you should be checking out Superpower Happy Hour. We've just finished the first half of our first series. And what was the last one we just did Captain America.
Cap.
We just did Cap's first appearance, and Will's a big fan of this format, which is kind of like I wanted to design a way to do comic book podcasts where it's like, oh, what are we good at? And like I think we're good at drinking and trying to make each other laugh. So we just kind of doubled down on that, and that's kind of what that's become. But if you enjoy that,
Yep.
if you enjoy friends having a good time reading comics together, check out our Super Happy Hour episodes. And like we mentioned, we're big fans of creators here. So we're big fans of Al Ewing, we're big fans of Martin Coccolo, Joe Spino, kind of the whole squad that brings us Immortal Thor every week. And my love of those creators kind of it grew this love of wanting to talk to creators about what they enjoy about comics. If they could pick a comic to read, what would their issue be? So I've been doing these creator chats every
Love it.
few weeks or so. We've had Philip Kennedy Johnson on, who's just got done with an epic run on Action Comics over at DC. Ethan Sachs just got done with a Star Wars Bounty Hunters line of over 40 comics. That's nuts. For a
Yeah. Great
series to go
episode.
over 40 issues is kind of insane nowadays.
Hmm.
But Ethan was our second conversation. And later on this week, we're interviewing Clayton Coles, who is a lettering friend of our friend, Joe Sabino. So if you want to check creator conversations out and kind of see how we pick their brains, check that out. And so my infomercial for many path stuff for our comics feed is over. We're going to jump in to our breakdown as we wait for the Faz Guardian to join us. Will, if you could keep hey, just as I was about to ask Will to keep a lookout for the Faz Guardian, the Faz Guardian is here. We're going to have him momentarily. So here we go. There he is.
Hello. I was gonna do a fun we interrupt this program, but it sounds like you warned the listeners that I was coming. It's devastating.
I did say we were kind of holding space for like, okay, let's not get into the full breakdown of the issue until Faz can jump on. So but the listeners loved our preamble. They didn't even notice it was a preamble until I
They didn't.
just blatantly
Wait,
called it.
have you guys
Solid.
done the pregame and stuff? Like, is
Oh
this
yeah, that's old news. That's old hat.
We pregame.
People
We
have to go check out the Mini Paz Patreon to find out what it was.
And
Hashtag
now
free
we can
branding.
really get started because Yacht Money's here, and
Yacht
and we
Money
can
is
do it.
here.
Yacht
Still listed
Money
as
is
not Will. I got to figure out how to change that. Yeah.
I actually, Faz, real quick, I was listening to one of my favorite NPR podcasts, Wait, Don't Tell Me, had a trivia question this week. It was about the newest like rage in billionaire yachts, which I didn't
Oh,
know was
interesting.
a thing. So they said they're like, yeah, there's now a yacht that you can buy for $2 billion, just a cool $2 billion. And it's actually the yacht is actually a submarine. And my
It's like
first
1 Billy Owens worth of money right there. That's
that's
almost nothing.
that's the budget of the third upcoming Billy Owens movie.
Yeah.
It's going to be bigger than Avatar.
It's called Revenge of Devon. Devon was my character name, right? Yeah,
Revenge
yeah.
of Devon.
Yes.
Revenge of Devon. Yeah.
Oh, is that a spoiler for what happens at the end of the second movie? Devon
You'll have
either
to watch and
dies
find
or
out, won't you?
goes bad. Again, everybody, if you're not checking out Superpower Happy Hour, you really should be. It's a whole heap of fun.
So much lore was added to the Fazgardian over the course of that 10 minutes at the beginning of the last session.
It was a wild way to start a episode that had nothing to do with the thing we tangented about. I don't know. But Faz, I thought it was like, oh, $2 billion yacht purchases. I should see what Faz is up to these days, and if he's gonna splurge on the yacht that's actually a submarine.
Times are tough. I prefer to get my submarines and yachts separately, just in case. You never know if they're built the same way. That's the
I
problem.
figured they would give you a deal if you bought them together.
Like if you buy two, you get like a two for like you pay 2/3 of each cost, so it's really only paying like 1.5 times. But if you buy one that does both, then you don't really get the benefit of that.
Well,
you got to be.
I want one that's going to turn into a plane as well. So submarine, boat, plane.
I already have one that's a transformer. So like, do you really need anything after that?
Yeah, eventually, are you just buying Transformers? So everybody, Faz is here, Will is here, the Warriors 3 is fully assembled. We are gonna walk into our breakdown of Immortal Thor number 6, and our breakdown is gonna be done at this like eagle eye view, and then each of us is gonna kind of pick apart what our favorite little aspects of the issue was, and then at the end we will give some time to the newest few issues of Alligator Loki that have come out, and some Thor news that we feel is pretty important if you're a Thor fan and you want to keep up to date with what's going to happen next.
Now, important question without spoiling, Ryan, am I allowed to be as unhinged as I want about the news, or do you need me to be like PG-13 in order to share the news?
If I were to say no, would it change the fact that it's probably going to happen?
There's one phrase I'm not going to use because you were super offended last time I tried to break this news, so I'm going to avoid that one piece. Everything else I think is fair game, personally.
Well, listeners, I for one don't remember the thing that I was so offended about, so it clearly struck a nerve with me long term. So you know what, Faz? Follow your heart. That's what I do.
Oh, shouldn't have said that.
Oh.
It's a good teaser, and talk about teasing. Talk about teasing. It's gonna want to make people just all the way to the end. Listen all the way to the end.
Yeah, sure. Listen. Oh yeah, we're dozens of people cannot wait to see what terrible.
Almost 4 people are excited.
Yeah, and they're all gonna turn on us.
But it does include Joe Sabino's parents. So if you guys are listening, you're the best. Oh, I'm really excited to share the news. I'm sure you guys already have.
Yes, we're sorry we're not better at this. So here is our breakdown of Immortal Thor number 6, The Teller of Tales. We start out around a campfire, like Will and I said, where Loki and Thor are talking about different myths and legends from their own personal past, and they're actually going to relive an adventure that we've already seen in Marvel publication history. We jump into the story of Thor issue number 272 and the little bit of a jaunt that Loki and Thor go on. But as Loki mentions in the beginning of the issue, sometimes when you retell a story, it is still a true story, but some of the aspects of the truth shift and change. So if you are a reader that wants to go chase down all the little footnotes that the editors put in, that the fantastic Will Moss puts into these books, and that Al Ewing wants us to go chase down, go read Thor 272 and kind of read it like side by side. It's a lot of fun. I went back and read it side by side, and there are a lot of changes, but the kind of the main body of the story that they're remembering stays the same. And it goes like this. Thor and Loki are in Utgard. They are walking towards what they don't know yet is Utgard Hall. They're taking this trip, and they think they go into a cave. The cave actually turns out to be the glove of a giant named Screamer, and he dumps them out. He calls them gnats. He takes a nap at one point, and Loki and Thor are like, well, we're hungry. How do we get food? Screamer leaves a bag of food out and has it tied with a knot. Thor can't get the knot out. For some reason, they decide that killing him is a better idea, and Thor does not like this idea. In the old issue 272, he is all for it. He's like, okay, let's kill this giant to get some food. The new Immortal Thor, he's a little more evolved. He's a little more progressive. He's not as bloodthirsty as
He's the All-Father. He's the All-Father.
He's
great.
the All-Father. Yeah, he can't just go, slaughtering giants willy-nilly. And then the giant wakes up, points them in the direction of Utgard Hall, and we zoom out then, not to the campfire scene, but we zoom all the way out, a la Inception style, where we're woken up from our dream, and we see the Minotaur reading the comic that we just read, and the Enchantress is over his shoulder, kind of with a mischievous, maniacal smile on her face. So she's got something cooking. That's how we end Immortal Thor number 6. Faz, you are really good at picking up on details that I am not good at picking up on. What did I miss? What gaps do we need to fill in there with listeners' understanding of this 6th issue in the series?
Well, I think you covered most of it. Just like you said, it's an allusion to a very classic Norse myth about Thor and Loki, and it's also an allusion to a very classic issue of Thor. Seeing how much he's grown is really impressive through here, and seeing how he's almost ashamed of the way he acted in his first couple hundred comics. The only thing I really want to add is that it's really fun to see Thor kind of zoom out and be like, it couldn't have been like that. There's no way I was that much of an asshole. And then Loki being like, oh, brother, you were a piece of shit. And then they just continue. Yeah. And the only other thing I really want to shout out is just the way that Martin drew the fourth wall break of showing the comic panels and then showing those same comic panels to us on the same page is insane. Like I showed this, I was reading it when my friend was in my office, because I got these on the Wednesday like I do, read them at work like I do, and my friend saw this page and was like, wait, what the hell's going on there? Is that like, that's a comic? Why is there a comic in the comic?
Within a comic.
And I was like, Martin Coccolo is a fancy motherfucker. That's why.
It's a fancy motherfucker.
And I'm very loved it. Excited to see what comes next. Excited to see the rest of the Utgard story and to see kind of where it goes. Other than that, I don't have anything else to throw in there.
Like what Will mentioned before you jumped on, Faz. I mean, we're transitioning out of our Toronto story, but it's still informed by it, because
our Toronto story, indeed. We're no longer in Toronto. We're somewhere else now.
Immortal Thor, a Toronto love story. I don't know what that means.
Oh, I also forgot one more thing. Sorry. He has his helmet again, which makes me very happy, because
that is true. Which also begs the question: where is the axe? Where's the new axe that we crafted?
Well, that's an easy answer, Ryan. Every time we see his full body, it's the prequel, and every time we see him just chatting with Loki, he doesn't have the axe or the hammer because he doesn't have his weapons with him. He's just reading a story. Boom.
Well, see again,
which is why he has Jarnbjorn, or however you say it, the very fun previous stories worthy of Mjolnir.
See, that's why I'm here to half intelligently
Jarnbjorn is how you say it.
That's how I've always been.
I mean, it sounds right to me. They didn't use it in the MCU, so we don't have like a definitive on-screen answer to call it.
No, Jarnbjorn is how I've always pronounced the axe.
Certainly better than Jarnbjorn.
Jarnbjorn.
Chill, what do you think?
Yeah.
Well, I think going back and So for folks out there, like if you have the Marvel Unlimited app, like Thor #6 isn't on there yet, you got to go to your local comic store to get that, and you can read it. But if you have Marvel Unlimited, you can go back and read 272. And so after I read the Immortal Thor #6, I immediately went to 272 because I had not read that comic before, and it starts off with like Thor trying to help these kids that have been bullied, been made to feel small. And so then he tells this story of a time when he felt super small next to a giant. And he even tried to like smash his face in with like a hammer and an axe, and it didn't work. And so that he had to think of other ways to get out of the problem than just like fighting. And so I do think it's interesting they're playing around with size and depth perception. And so here is Thor with Loki playing around and revisiting a story where they're meant to where somebody else perceived them as gnats, not as gods, not as all father, not as all powerful, but as really small. So how are you made to feel small in this world, and why do you matter is kind of what they're playing at. And then, again, the final page of holding the comic, again, those are the giants who are holding Thor's life or his story or myth in their hands and playing around with it. So again, you're playing around with giants and smallness and whether you matter or not, and the stories we tell around campfires and what you embellish and what you don't. I think is all relevant here to what Al Ewing's trying to say that will lead to other things. But yeah, I had to read it a couple times, but the art's just incredibly beautiful. And as I was talking about, like, man, Martin can do a splash page, but when you can boil down Thor, like a surprised look in his eye or really excited about doing something, and I can tell exactly what he's feeling by just looking at his art. Not all comic artists can do that. Like they'll do a good action scene or panel to panel, but it's hard to get facial expressions. And there are some comics where you're like, I can't tell if that's Scott Summers or Multiple Man or Wolverine. Their faces all look the same. They're all the same height. Yeah, perspectiveness. You're like, I can't tell who these characters are on the page, but that's not in this comic. You know exactly what's going on. So
Yeah, he draws the small moments just as well as the big, exciting, offensive and physical moments, which is just so cool.
Yep. Yeah,
and that's good because like Will mentioned, like there's not really a big conflict in this. We go from issue #5 throwing everything at the wall that they could with this Thor Core versus Tyrannos fight, and then in this one there's really not a lot of action at all. We've really calmed down. But what I like about this issue at the end is when we do that big full zoom out. This is one of my favorite moments. When Dario, the Minotaur, he's reading this comic. He's reading 272, and he's the villain to call this out. Where he says, "The story's changing as I read it." And the Enchantress says, "Scald magic, Dario, but two can play at this game, and the prize is the mighty Thor." So the way I interpret that is, not only is Loki and Thor changing aspects of this story, the Enchantress is going to kind of go, back at them by trying to change things in the story as well. So presumably we're going to continue in the narrative of 272 in the next issue, at least for like a little bit, I would imagine.
You know what would be completely crazy?
I
If while they're doing this, the comic continuity splits and we get a whole second Thor.
That would be nuts.
Who
would think of something like that?
I hate how baited in I was by the thing that you just said, because we're going to talk about that. I was like, yeah,
teaser for later in the episode, listeners.
I'm with you. Oh shit. You got me.
It's like, oh, what's Faz cooking up this? Oh, damn it.
So speaking of that though, we will get to that bit of news because Marvel.com and Marvel's social media did announce some big things for a few issues from now for our summer kind of extravaganza that we're getting with Thor. But we see two things at the end of this issue. The cover for Immortal Thor #7, which in my opinion, guys, it's like Thor and Loki are in like the Alice in Wonderland kind of like wibbly wobbly kind of hallway, but it looks like he's wrestling Battle Cat from He-Man in this, and I can't get Battle Cat out of my mind with this. Anybody else tracking with me on that?
Yeah, I'm tracking with you. The original comic, it's an actual cat, right? Like a tiny little guy. So I wonder
Yeah.
what it's gonna look like
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
this one.
It's
And-
a tiny. That's the comic relief in 272, which the title of that story is "The Day Thunder Failed."
The Day of Thunder.
So again, the day Thunder failed. What's setting up for the next one? What Thunder can do and can't do. So yeah, the cat of that in 272 is like, oh, I can lift that cat. That's a challenge, and can't. It's a little tiny kitten or whatever.
and
The
that's an
size
old
of
Thor myth that
yeah.
is tweaked kind of twice over now, tweaked in 272 by Stan Lee and John Buscema, now being twisted again by Al Ewing and Martin Coccolo.
Actually, it's Roy Thomas. It's Roy Thomas.
Oh, it's Roy Thomas. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I get some of those names mixed up, and I
Right.
don't really know why that's so difficult for me. But
Disappointing, Ryan.
also see that we don't have a letters page at the end of this one. But it does say that the letters page will return in issue 7, bigger and bolder than previous. So guys, we still have time. We still have time to get our letters in.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you,
Oh.
Ryan. We have infinite time because this run is never going to end. So we
Oh,
can,
I
in theory, do it
forgot.
at some point. Yeah.
Yes, this is quite literally the never-ending story.
Yes.
And yeah, it's not gonna end. So we got time. We got time.
All things end.
Guys, any other final thoughts about number 6? And then we'll kind of jump into the news about the future episode or the future issues of
I'm making you say it now. I've been here just long
Damn
enough
it.
that you're saying episodes and movies instead of issues.
You have ruined me. Will, any other final thoughts on number 6?
Nope. I just can't wait to read some legacy episodes later on.
I hate so much of what I've become. Baz, any other final thoughts on number 6?
I think we pretty much covered it. This one was like, we all kind of see where it's going, so there's not as much to talk about this other than just praising the art and the direction and the writing, other than to say what comes next will shock you.
Yes,
we had some bombshells over the weekend.
Yes, senses shattering news. I really have nothing else to add either. I think that this is one of those issues where I look at it, I'm like, okay, I don't really understand the significance of this issue right now. But in 10, 20, like, Faz said, at the end of time, when we finally get to the end of this run, we'll understand at least what part this issue had to play in the overall story, how Utgard Loki played in, how, us traveling through a old issue of Thor at the same time that the Minotaur and the Enchantress are reading it, how that's all going to fit together. Like Will said at the beginning, this is kind of our transition. We're transitioning into this new arc, and we'll just have to continue on with the ride. We're not gonna get off here. We're not gonna disembark yet.
Thor is the campfire we gather around, us three, to have a
Oh.
conversation and share warmth and ponder life and
A
questions.
little bit of snuggling, a little bit of touching.
Wow.
A little bit of spooning.
That
A little bit of smoothing.
predictably weird.
Three-way spoon. We all rotate who the middle spoon is because we all want to be the middle spoon. You know how it is.
So Faz, why don't you tell us, because you really kind of dug deeper than both of us on this news. What is coming up in the summer for Thor comics, and how does that kind of maybe play into the story that Al is telling us so far?
So, one of the most meta things of all time has happened, listeners.
You're gonna read the press
Roxxon.
release, right?
Of all time.
I'm reading at least part of it, yeah.
Okay.
In a shocking turn of events, Roxxon has acquired Marvel. And the villainous energy company is wasting no time giving the God of Thunder a corporate makeover. Thor is going to be called Roxxon Presents Thor, A marketable hero who will always be there to defend big business and the sanctity of shareholder value whenever saving the Earth is taken too far.
This is so good.
A direct quote from Al Ewing about this character.
With
Let me
no
pull it up.
edits. No edits. That's
No,
important.
no edits from me. This is very important. Let me see. Where is it? It's the Thor. It's the Thor fans truly know and love. No thoughts, just muscles, a hammer, and zero hesitation to bring them both down on the most one-dimensional villains ever seen in a comic book, along with anyone that gets in Roxxon's way. That is a direct solicitation from Marvel Comics, a subsidiary of Roxxon. I need to make sure I say that so we don't get
A
sued.
subsidiary of Roxxon.
It's his secret identity is AI spokes guru Chad Hammer. The son of Odin knows Mama Gaia is a top priority for heroes and for business. But when a group of insane environmental activists take saving the Earth, in air quotes, too far, it's time to show them the wisdom of both sides as Thor. But which god of evil is prompting the kids to rebel? Could it be Loki, god of evil? There's an all-star cast of heroes: Minotaur, Executioner, Enchantress, and the most important thing, the reason why Ryan's the most excited is because it says the Thor truck.
Yes, I am here for the Thor truck.
So
I
listeners, it's important to note. It's important to note that this is probably going to be a one-off. The normal Immortal Thor run is going to continue. This is just kind of they're doing like, it seems to be where our kind of meta story is going in the main Immortal Thor run, and they're giving some backstory to the other side of the conflict by giving us a whole comic book for this Roxxon Thor.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be 1 or 2 issues, or if it's going to be 3, or how long it'll be. I know that it's
Will
being drawn
hopes
by
it goes
Greg
the entire
Land.
summer.
Will wants it forever.
Yeah, Will actually wants this book to, like, you know how for a few years there was 2 Captain America books? That's actually what Will wants. He wants 2 Thor books, but one of them is Roxxon Thor.
I'm pretty sure he wants like a Mighty Thor Unworthy Thor style thing, where like they both come out every month. Yeah.
Well, we've gotten to know you
something.
so well that we can speak on your behalf in this. Listeners, he's purposely not lighting into us right now.
He's trying to keep it together while we
Will
talk
does
about
not
it.
like this idea at all.
It's obviously going to be written in satire. There's also this really funny, listeners, you should go find it. It's too annoying to read out loud, but this quote that Al Ewing wrote that then has strike throughs and has been edited by Roxxon. It's too annoying to read out loud, but just go and look at it. It's hilarious. It's when people first saw, because Marvel announced it by just showing the cover art,
yeah,
the variant cover of them fighting, and people were like, "What the hell is going on?" Now that we know that it's this satirical thing done by the villains and meant to be ridiculous, people are feeling a lot better about it. People were originally very upset, and as you can imagine, on the internet, nobody wastes any time disavowing Marvel comics. The amount of "this is what happens when woke Disney gets involved" that I read was hilarious.
Oh my god!
Because it's the most obvious satire of all time, and people were like, still doing
probably giving Al Ewing the exact response he wanted from certain people.
100%. People, this is why I swore off Marvel Disney so long ago. Anyway, the one thing I want to say about this is that they finally made the Thor that the people who hated Love and Thunder want him to be. Just punch.
They made Dude Thor.
Later. They made Dude Thor. Like all he
Chad
is
Hammer.
He's so a gritty fighting
Chad
Hammer. The AI spokesperson.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait. I cannot wait for Will to review that.
Mm-hmm.
That
here's the thing. Notice the listeners are probably saying, all 4 listeners, and 3 of those are us, are like saying, like, did Will leave? Did he have somewhere to go? And it's like, no, I'm still here. I'm just listening to them talk about this summer event. Now that I know that it may be a one shot or a parody or that kind of thing, I may pick it up. But when I thought this was being solicited as like a summertime like event or special, I was like, but not in the main Immortal Thor title. I'm like, man, I'm trying to shave my pull list down. I can't buy everything. I may have to skip this one. But when Faz
that's not why you wanted to skip this one, Will. Don't lie to our one listener.
We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about that in a minute. There's another reason. But when Faz read that, I was like, oh, okay, I'll bite. Chad, Chad Hammer. I've got
The
to read
Thor
it.
truck. It's
If you don't
amazing.
want to buy it, Will, Faz and I will go halvesies on an issue for you, and
Okay.
then you can just discard it afterwards. Like, because
You can burn it depending on how it is.
Because Will, what's the other reason you're not excited for Roxanne Thor?
Now let me preamble this. All comic artists and creators in the business are better at art than me. And
But
I'm
you're
not
gonna
a type
judge
of
them
person.
nonetheless.
I'm not the type of person who's going to slam other people's art, even if it doesn't like fit my eye or my tastes. Yes, Martin Cocola is one of my favorite artists, and I'm disappointed he's not doing this one. But yeah, Greg Land is the artist on this one, and I've read a lot of Greg Land because I've collected a lot of X-Men comics. I think he probably hits his deadlines better than anybody because he's used a lot for a lot of different books. But his type of art, when I talked about like Martin Cocola as being one that I could tell the differences in people's faces and who different
Right.
people are. There's some issues of X-Men comics. If I don't know if only a hair color lets me know what person this is that's maybe talking.
Hmm.
The difference between
No, I get it.
Jean
Yeah.
Grey and Emma is only the color of their hair. That's it. And so there's just
Sometimes the
things
pose
that
that
like
they're in, to be fair.
what's that?
Sometimes the pose that they're in too can separate them depending on what's been allegedly traced in order to make the look the way it's going to look.
Right. So yeah. So I was like, okay. So like over the course, like people will ask me, what's your favorite hero? What's your favorite comic book? I'm like, well, I'm at the point now where I follow creators that I really like. So my favorite creator could write whatever, and I'm going to be like, I want to check out their take on that. So I'm not just going to read a book only. X-Men, Thor, maybe a couple others are some exceptions to that rule, but there are also creators that when they hop on a book, I'm like, okay, they're not my favorite. I'll pass on that from here. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Okay.
that's a polite way of saying I'm not a fan.
Will is trying to be. We got done with a pregame a few weeks ago where we're just like, man, isn't Will the greatest guy? And I can assure you, listeners, that was the nicest way he could say he does not like Greg Land's art. But we have that to look forward to in the summer, alongside Immortal Thor, maybe as a one shot, maybe as kind of a one-off thing to again kind of just like drive home this point that like Roxxon has its own view and own way that it wants its newest property Thor to come across to the people of the Marvel universe. So last thing we're gonna kind of hit on here, right, on this new comics issue edition of podcast is Faz, what's going on in the world of Alligator Loki? Our friend Alyssa Wong continuing to pump out, crazy cute stories in the
Yes.
Infinity app.
So, but before I even start, Ryan, do you know what issue we left off on, listeners?
I believe we left off on issue 25.
All right,
So,
I'm gonna quick hit this because I read them when they come out, and they come out all the time. So I'm gonna need to quickly scroll and
that is
let you know what
true.
happened.
We don't really get a heads up of when these
Each
things
day.
come out because it's just like, oh, 4 issues dropped today. Oh, only 1 issue dropped next. Like the Infinity comics on Marvel Unlimited are kind of scattershot.
I'm behind, and then I'm way ahead, and then I'm behind again. So I'm caught up. I've read them all, but these ones I read a little bit ago. So 26, listeners, is called Daycare Part 1.
Oh my gosh.
Our beautiful alligator man is in a crate, and Loki is just tired of his bullshit. So he's put him in the crate. He's bringing him to the daycare. All the animals are kind of afraid about this thing that's in the
Which
crate.
kind of animals? They're Marvel animals. You have Lockjaw. You have
Okay,
a
you're
cat,
right.
you have
They're all
Pizza
special
Dog.
animals.
There's
Yeah.
special daycare. It's not
What's
just
the name of the
animals.
shark again? Remember the name of the shark?
Jeff.
Jeff, yes.
Jeff
Jeff
the
the
shark.
shark, who's the
Yep.
greatest of all time. And Doctor Strange's ghost dog, obviously. So
Bats.
they do a bunch of zany hijinks. They're all excited to meet their new friend. Jeff the shark gets flowers around him because romance, and then Alligator Loki's brought out. That's how episode 1 of this long running arc is. Also, does it not continue in the next one?
I don't believe so because the next one is a Halloween
Yeah.
dress up. It's called
Yeah.
Dress Up.
Daycare Part 2 doesn't show up again until issue 32. So or episode
Alyssa's
32.
keeping us on our toes.
Well,
That's all.
That's
and
right.
to be fair, Alyssa did say when we talked to them last that some of them do continue on, some of them are one shots.
Hmm.
So like also who knows, for these Infinity comics, they could release them in different orders than Alyssa wrote them. Who knows? I
Right.
mean, they sometimes pick it back up. They sometimes just kind of let it be its own thing.
There you go.
All right, so the next one is a Halloween themed episode. Did this come out on Halloween? Like, is that how long ago it
It
was?
did
Or
not.
was-
Came out in the middle of December.
So it starts out with an amazing action shot of Alligator Loki and regular Loki throwing knives at something. And we pan out after all these crazy action shots, and they're carving pumpkins, like cute little guys.
Yeah.
Loki's wearing an incredible Hulk costume. Alligator Loki needs no costume. He's beautiful the way he is. Thor comes through the door, and what's he dressed as, gentlemen?
He's Magnum PI.
Yes, he is. And he looks gorgeous. Alligator Loki is unimpressed. Throg is the most excited frog we've ever seen in our lives. And
Oh,
then
so good.
they fight over what costumes. Loki obviously thinks that Alligator Loki and Throg should be dressed as Lokis.
Right.
And Thor thinks they should be ghosts because, I mean, we love him, but he's not the most, creative and thoughtful thinker out there. Loki is thinking about Jeff the shark. Thor is thinking about a hot dog. A bunch of other random stuff happens. There's Wolverine at one point, chicken. The animals leave and they want to eat some food. They get peanut butter cups. And what are they dressed at the end, guys?
Oh gosh,
you tell?
I already went on to the next.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you then. Alligator Loki's dressed as Thor with a peanut butter cup thing to make his Mjolnir, and Throg is dressed as Loki. It's very cute. He's dressed as Alligator
awesome.
Loki. He's got a tail and everything.
That's awesome.
Thor loves it. Loki is disappointed. And then there's the next shot of them all trick or treating, and it's adorable. That is 27.
So Faz, can I have 28 real quick? Because
yeah, of course you can.
28 is like the Tom and Jerry of Throg and Alligator Loki's relationship. They're just fighting back and forth. Alligator Loki really wants Mjolnir, and he's like, "Oh, Throg's got a Mjolnir." Ugh. And then he bites him, and eventually Alligator Loki gets electrocuted. And it ends up to where they punch a hole in the apartment wall, and Thor puts Alligator Loki in like a carrying case, like a pet carrier, and they end up walking off screen at the end. So,
oh, Ryan, you're burying the lead though.
I did.
Throg throws Mjolnir at Alligator Loki, and Alligator Loki eats it. So Throg just becomes a frog.
Oh, right, he does
He's
transform
just a
back.
guy, and he only changes back by grabbing Alligator Loki by the bottom and holding him up as his hammer.
And that's how he gets electrocuted. That was one of my favorite scenes. Is like, how did the frog just become Throg? Well, he's just going to pick up the hammer that's in Alligator Loki, and that's how he gets electrocuted.
And this one,
and that's why he has to go to the vet, because he's been electrocuted.
Yep.
This one does continue into the next issue. So
yeah,
I hand the reins back over to you, Faz.
It's super cute. Oh, Will, go ahead.
I'd love to take this one.
Heck yeah.
I'd love to take this one because they go to the vet. And what doctor are you going to take Alligator Loki to? Doctor Strange. That's because he swallowed a hammer, and you got to get this hammer out of its belly, just like a pet who swallows something that shouldn't be swallowing. You got to take him to the vet. And so I do like it that there's a Deadpool callback from Alyssa. What other animal is there at the vet? Isn't it like Carnage Puppy?
What?
Is it? Oh, yeah.
Oh, I did not know what that was.
The Doc and Carnage Puppy from a callback to Deadpool that Alyssa has written. So there you go.
Oh, that makes so much more sense now.
Yeah.
Okay.
A character of Alyssa's creation is there, reappears.
Amazing.
So I think it's cool. Like a doctor, if you've owned an animal, if you own a pet, if you own a dog or cat, you go to the vet, all the shenanigans that are there and the stress of what do you do next. And I do just leading. I don't know if we're ready to leave that one next, but the next one with this Alligator Loki that ends up wearing a cone on its head is absolutely hilarious.
Oh, we can't quite go there yet because I want to know.
I know.
So they go. Doctor Strange doesn't work. They go to. Is that Dr. L. Samson? Who's that? Dr. Samson.
Yeah, that's Doc Samson. That's kind of like writing down his thoughts. Do you guys not know who Dr. O'Hara is at the end?
No, so that's what we have to get there, Ryan. So there's
Okay.
Jane Foster. She says no. Dr. Voodoo, and he's like, I'm not that kind of doctor, bro. And then we get to Dr. O'Hara, and I have no idea who that is. So please tell me.
Dr. O'Hara is great pull. Like, Alyssa, if you're listening to this, absolutely great polls on these characters that like we have nominal knowledge of. But the last one, Shauna O'Hara, is Shauna the She-Devil. She becomes, I believe her and Kazar get married at some point.
Right.
She is, Shauna the She-Devil, the queen of the jungle. So yeah.
That's why she's in the jungle. That's cool.
Yep.
And the way that she solves the problem, listeners, is amazing. She picks up Throg,
she makes
throws him,
throw up the hammer.
Yeah. Alligator Loki eats Throg, forced to eat him, throws them both out, and Throg is back, obviously scarred from the experience. And Alligator Loki has some real scars, like Chill Williams said.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, this is another one where it continues on to the next one. Faz, you wanna rock and roll with this one?
I think Will was really excited about this one. So do you want to talk us through it, Will?
No, I like that the fact that they put a cone on,
Okay.
on Alligator's,
Like he's a
and he's
dog.
under house arrest because he has to like rest. You have to rest after a hospital visit or surgery or whatever.
Yeah.
So time for some rest and healing. But no, can this animal, can this Alligator Loki sit still? No, that wants to break out of house arrest and break
And he
out of
gets
jail.
pet by Loki, and he keeps trying to escape, and they tell him no, and he calls his best friend from like, I don't know, 10 issues ago. It's hard to tell at this point. He calls X-23 and says, please, please save me.
And
She's off
she
doing
breaks him
stuff.
out. She breaks him out of the apartment.
Yep. And Loki's
But
like, no.
is it X-23 or a clone of X-23? I couldn't tell. I
um,
didn't read the other one.
Actually,
I don't know.
Because
it's not
another
X-23. Oh, it's been forever since I've read the all new Wolverine. Yes, it's like a younger sister's type clone of X-23.
Oh, which it makes sense why there's another X-23 in the next one. That's
Right.
very
So,
confusing. I'm not up on my Wolverine.
let's move on to the next one. Double Trouble. Faz, you want to get this one?
Yeah, so they've broken out and they're playing with balloons and stuff like that. They're planning a water balloon war, and they decide they're going to take out the rest of the Wolverine family because there's just millions of them everywhere. Can you guys tell me, is the older one, like in this scenario, is that also his daughter, but she's like teenage or 18, or is that like a wife Wolverine? I'm very confused by this shot.
No, X-23 is actually a clone of Wolverine. They
No,
just
no,
make
I
right.
know. I see two adults and a kid and another kid who's like clearly part of that same family. So like, are they all siblings? Are they parents?
I think they're all clones. They're all 20 Weapon X versions of Weapon X.
They're all
I could be
Logan
wrong.
or Logana. If they're female,
Yeah.
I guess is what we're gonna go with. Cool.
I don't think Logan is married right now. I've been reading all the X books, and I don't think he's married.
That makes sense. So she's eating ice cream. Alligator Loki wants the ice cream. So does the other clone. They attack with the balloons, but the saddest thing happens, guys. They fight over the ice cream. Everybody's fighting over it. There's like maybe two Alligator Lokis at one point, or maybe it's just too confusing at that point, and it falls to the ground. And nobody gets the. Ellen, is that a Skrull?
Yeah, there's a scroll at one point that's impersonating, and now I looked it up. I finally remember what the younger Wolverine clone is. It's Gabby Kinney, Laura Kinney's like clone sister, Gabby.
Yep.
That's yeah.
Sure.
But you find out that one of the Gabby Kinneys is actually a Skrull named Skrull Girl, and
Great
she
name.
was impersonating her. But they all end up getting ice cream together at the end, so it's it all works out.
Yeah, it all worked out. Yeah. Daycare part 2, friends.
The last one is Daycare Part 2.
There's your part 2.
So again, we're coming back to this. We end up going to the vet. A lot of different Marvel pets are there. There's a lot of crying, a lot of hugging, like a lot of things happen here where Alligator Loki finally gets, I don't know, love and care from people. But then he gets he gets to the point where he's going to draw a letter and a banner with Jeff and bats, and I always forget, is it Goose in the comics or is it Chewie in the comics? Captain Marvel's cat.
Chewie, unless if they've done
It's
grand
Chewie in the
synchronization.
comics.
Yeah.
But the reason they're crying is because the daycare worker who they love is leaving, taking another job or retiring.
And so they end the issue by putting this like goodbye party together for this beloved.
Just adorable.
work.
They have a group hug at one point. Like, it's just, Alyssa, you're too good at this. But you guys are wrong, because there's a whole new one now. There's a number 33 now.
What?
In the time that we've been writing this, I saw it pop up this morning. Number 33 is called House of Strange. Thor, Loki, and Alligator Loki are coming to visit Doctor Strange and Clea for dinner. So they come in, there's a whole dinner table all set up. Doctor Strange is conspicuously not wearing his beautiful magic cloak of levitation. They're chatting about stuff. Topics include calculus, football, glue, a door, a golf club, a bunch of other random things that Alligator Loki couldn't care less about. So he goes wandering.
W9.
Yeah, W9. Yeah.
Gas prices.
Gas prices are too high. I agree with Doctor Strange or whoever was saying that. And then he finds the cloak, puts on the cloak. As you can imagine, chaos ensues. He looks beautiful in the cloak. Doctor Strange is like, "What the hell?" And he's trying to use his magic to stop the cloak. And that's where we leave him. We'll have to see what happens next. Find out next time. Probably released tomorrow, because we have no way of knowing.
Actually, update in the time that we read number 33, number 34 is already out.
The next 6 are out. We're on 40 now, guys.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So yeah, that's where Alligator Loki is, in case anyone was wondering what's been going on with Marvel's favorite reptile. So guys, any other things that we need to just touch on real quick before we wrap up this new comics edition of Across the Bifrost and hop aboard the Rainbow Bridge? Will?
If Roxanne has legitimately acquired Marvel Comics, I'm gonna have to rocks off out of here. That's all I'm gonna say.
Doesn't get Will's rocks off at all.
That's right.
I knew that was gonna come up.
I have one more thing to add.
Yeah.
Fuck the Avengers. The greatest team of all time is coming in spring 2024. It's described as the crossover of the century. Alligator Loki, Jeff the Shark, Lucky the Pizza Dog, Chewbacca the Flurkin, and a bunch of others are going to be an Infinity Pause. Get fired up, everybody. No one cares what humans are doing when the animals exist.
I love
Let's go.
So we've got that to look forward to.
That's a book I'll read. I'll read that one.
Yeah, well, until you find out that Greg Land's doing the art. So
if Greg Land is listening to this, we still love to talk to you and chat with you. You're a creator. We can hang out.
Yeah. Will might just like turn his mic off at certain points and just be like, but
honestly, he's probably a super cool guy.
Yeah, I mean, hey, to each their own. So everybody, we hope that you have enjoyed this new comics edition of Across the Bifrost. Please be checking out Superpower Happy Hour and What's Your Issue, 2 other shows on this feed that you will honestly, you'll have a lot of fun with. They are kind of different tones, but we like to have a good time with both of them. We've got some fantastic heroes coming up that we're going to be covering in our first appearances of Iconic Superheroes series on Superpower Happy Hour. Wonder Woman is coming up. We've got Wolverine coming up, and one of the ones that people are like, how have you not done this one yet? I'm like, well, that's because I was saving it for this specific spot. People are like, how haven't you done Batman yet? You did Aquaman before Batman? You did Iron Man before Batman?
That's because Iron Man and Aquaman are your 2 favorite, and Batman are your 2 favorite characters. So you do Iron Man first, you save Batman for later. That's how it goes.
Finally, Faz is caught on. So we have Batman, and if you are a Patreon member, or if you would like to support us at that next level, you can vote at any level of support. Gets you a vote on our next poll, where you are going to get to decide what Marvel hero we cover on our 10th episode of Superpower Happy Hour. You can choose between Daredevil, the Hulk, and Black Panther. And right now, I'm not gonna lie, everybody, 2 of those are tied. So we need people to break the tie. Maybe you are the one that can break that tie for us. But everybody, we're going to hop board the Rainbow Bridge. So until we see you next time, no matter what you're doing, no matter where you're at, no matter what's going on in your life right now, just remember to stay worthy. Da, 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 da,
Ba-da-da.
da, da,
Let's see what's
da, da.